She was born on May 2, 1729, in Stettin, Prussia. Her father was General Christian August, Prince of the Anhalt-Zerbst region. He instilled Protestantism in his daughter from an early age. He encouraged her to take dance and music courses. He emphasized her history studies and ensured that she learned German, French, and Russian. Sophie Augusta Frederica's family also included Swedish kings. Her cousins, Gustav and Charles XIII, ascended the Swedish throne. Catherine II, named Sophie Augusta Frederica on her father's side, or Princess von Anhalt-Zerbst, was versatile, quick-witted, authoritative, resourceful, and farsighted. She succeeded in making Russia a global giant. She significantly changed and transformed society. She enlarged and modernized Russia. She relied on herself and her close circle. His observation about the people was striking. The people think of bread to feed them and religion to console them. Despite his German ancestry, he was a Russian nationalist who served Russia's age-old ideals. At the age of 15, the decision of her life was made. She was invited to Russia by Queen Elizabeth I to marry the heir to the throne, Peter, Duke of Holstein-Gottorp, and heir to the throne. Peter, the heir apparent, was a grandson of the late Tsar Peter the Great, the Mad, on his mother's side of German descent. He was a natural admirer, ally of Prussia. According to historians, he was childish, rude, ugly, cruel, unbalanced, and perverse. His constitution was unhealthy, and he had a dirty, pockmarked face.
Both parties were reluctant, but they married on August 21, 1745. Sophie converted to Orthodoxy and took the name Caterina Alexeyevna. Caterina and Peter never loved each other. After the wedding, the newlyweds settled in the Oranienbaum Palace, which had been assigned to them, overlooking the Gulf of Finland, and very close to St. Petersburg. Although they shared 2 adjacent rooms, they were careful not to have sex or have sex together for several years. Peter had an extremely fat lover who, as Caterina described her, resembles a cannonball. When seen at the entrance to their room, she would be mistaken for a guard. According to records, she was his aunt's maid. She continued the habits of her bachelorhood.
According to biographers, Caterina was patient, determined, politically savvy, and adept at using tongs. After spending her first night with her husband, after years of waiting, she immediately set out to exact revenge. Her first recorded gigolo was the handsome court-marshal Sergei Satyev. According to her confessions, he was the father of her son, Pavel Petrovich, who would succeed her to the throne. But Pavel resembled Peter, both physically and spiritually, his father in dynastic records. He loved to adorn himself and wear elaborate clothes. He was weak-willed. She was very generous to her guests. Stanislaw Poniatowski, a handsome Polish nobleman, was also among those who entered Caterina's bed. With his mistress's support, he would be crowned King of Poland. Tsarina Elizabeth I died on January 5, 1762. Crown Prince Peter ascended to the throne as Peter III. He was unfamiliar with statecraft. He was born of Princess Anna, daughter of Peter the Great, or Mad. He was naturally a German or Prussian admirer. He openly praised/defended Protestantism over Orthodoxy. He disliked dealing with state affairs. He spent his time playing children. He would run for hours with specially uniformed children, soldiers, and selected dwarfs, engaging in mock battles and becoming exhausted. He sweated profusely and changed his clothes/uniform 15-20 times a day. The childish Peter III's reign was short-lived. He lost his throne in a palace coup, supported, though not officially embraced, by his wife. His inability to adequately protect Russia's interests and his lack of respect for orthodoxy were cited as the reasons. Catherine II ascended to the throne, was declared Tsarina on the same day, March 22, 1762. Catherine did not directly declare her support for the coup. She was careful not to interfere. But she did order free drinks to be distributed to the coup plotters in St. Petersburg. The cost of the treat was 100,000 rubles.
She made her husband's murderer a count. Grigory Orlov, one of the leaders of the revolution, had been Catherine's lover since 1759. He had a strong, durable constitution and was an experienced soldier. He had sustained various wounds in the battles he participated in and had shown service. He was a boxer, fond of cockfighting, and would hunt bears, wolves, and deer. He was showered with valuable gifts by his mistress. He was even made the owner of a palace in St. Petersburg. Catherine even considered marrying her daring, coup-plotting lover, but quickly changed her mind. She chose to remain a bachelor and pursue her own life. The former Tsar Peter III was exiled to the country palace with his mistress, whom he was allowed to take with him. Satisfied, he could live as he pleased. He was ambushed and killed by the other member of the Orlov family, Alexei Orlov, 6 months later. The Queen's servant and loyal supporter, the 4 Orlov brothers, were also made counts. According to her personal history, biographers, she would benefit from the bed service of young, handsome, and strong men. Although she ended her sexual relationships with some of them, she would maintain their friendship or confidence. Grigory Potemkin was a faithful companion who fit the description. He was promoted to the rank of general. Even a Russian warship was named after him. A loyal ally, Potemkin also provided a lesser-known, intimate service. He selected new lovers for Catherine and ensured her continued satisfaction. The Caterina would describe Potemkin as my Cossack, my hook, my lion. Caterina's epithet was Matryoshka, the young courtesan she concealed within her. Would be revealed.
She made her last lover a governor-general. Her official biography includes 12 lovers. She called her last lover, Prince Platon Zubov, my dear. Zubov was 22 years old. Thanks to his service, he amassed a magnificent fortune. He was appointed governor-general of the newly conquered lands in southern Ukraine. His predecessor was the gigolo General Grigory Potemkin. Catherine chose not only muscular and strong men, but also intelligent intellectuals. She loved acquiring new knowledge and discussing various matters of state. She was a hard worker. She could go days without sleep. She cared about state affairs. She could work 24 hours a day. In her spare time, she rode horses. She was a very skilled equestrian. She made allies in Europe. She pursued a policy of alliance with France, Austria, and Prussia. She appointed her lover/favorite, Stanislas Poniatowski, to the throne of Poland in 1764. That same year, he distributed the fertile fields around the Volga River to German peasants. Nearly a third of the country's land was owned/controlled by churches and Russian feudal lords. He nationalized the land, depriving the church of its vital source of income.
He tried to bring constitutional democracy to Russia. He envisioned an open-minded, controllable monarchy. The blueprint he drafted was far more progressive than the U.S. Constitution, which would be promulgated 20 years later, and he strove to make Russia a state governed by the rule of law. According to his theses, all citizens were equal before the law. He strongly condemned torture. In 1767, he convened a parliament representing all segments of society. He prevented landowners and serfs from participating. He aimed to update the laws and establish a new legal system. However, he failed to create the democratic environment he anticipated. The parliament failed to function. Fierce competition and conflicts among merchants, peasants, nobles, and other classes hindered productive work. Tsarina Catherine II closed down parliament in 1768, using the war with the Ottoman Empire as an excuse. Catherine II's historical goals: the vast territories of the Ottoman Empire and the Orthodox population. She fought against 3 Ottoman sultans: Mustafa III, Abdul Hamid I, and Selim III. She experienced 2 long-lasting major wars. The first major war began during the reign of Mustafa III. It lasted 6 years, 1768 to 1774, and concluded during the reign of Abdul Hamid I. The Ottomans recognized Crimea's independence with the Treaty of Küçük-Kaynarca. Russia assumed the role of protector, patron, of the Ottoman Empire's Orthodox citizens. Russian merchant ships would be able to pass freely through the straits. The Tsarina never left Crimea unnoticed. Her former lover and advisor, General Potemkin, also favored annexing Crimea. In 1783, she annexed the region to Russian territory in a sudden operation. The Ottomans refused to accept the occupation. The Second Long War began. The 5 years of fighting between 1787 and 1792 brought the Ottomans another taste of defeat. When Tsarina III ascended to the throne, he signed the Treaty of Yassy, ceding Crimea to the Russians. Russia consolidated its strategic superiority in the Black Sea. She corresponded with Enlightenment philosophers. Despite her development and expansion of Russia, Catherine II was not loved by her people. However, she enjoyed a certain level of sympathy among intellectuals. She had spent time in France as a young woman and learned the language. She read Montesquieu's The Spirit of the Laws in French. She possessed a creative and productive nature. She wrote plays. She considered herself a self-taught intellectual. She corresponded with French philosophers Voltaire, D'Alembert, Montesquieu, Diderot, and Cesare Beccaria. She purchased Voltaire's library and paid a fortune to his heirs. Her goal was to improve Russia's image in Europe. She strove to portray a modern Russia. She took significant steps to develop Russian opera, ballet, and painting. She commissioned the construction of the Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg. She purchased and imported 250 paintings of high artistic value from various European countries. She increased the number of schools. She ensured the opening of printing houses. She supported scientific and literary endeavors. She prioritized the enlightenment of her country. She strove to make the capital, St. Petersburg, a major cultural center of its time.
She paid a fortune for furniture with erotic motifs. Catherine II, the queen of scandals, was fond of furniture with obscene motifs. In her private room, with its walls covered in red fabric, a place few people knew about or even entered, she would use her indecent furniture collection, which she had paid for with treasury funds. According to biographers, her lust for sex never diminished. There's talk of her changing lovers until she was 67. The most intriguing of the allegations against her was that her death caught Catherine in the arms of her young lover, Platon Zubov. She suffered a sudden cerebral hemorrhage from the excitement and died the next day. Among the allegations was that she died of a cerebral hemorrhage while bathing. At her last moment, she decided to change her will. She would abdicate in favor of her grandson, Alexander, but she couldn't. Catherine II never loved her son, Pavel Petrovich. He made her life miserable. When Petrovich ascended to the throne as Pavel I, he took revenge on his mother. His first act was to have his father's coffin exhumed. With magnificent ceremony, he had them buried side by side in the mausoleum. After a long walk, the coffins were brought to the burial ground. Behind the hearse walked his mother's lover, the old man Alexei Orlov, carrying the sword of the Tsar Peter III, whom he had assassinated.